everyone, and welcome to the next episode of the Best of 3 CoD Esports Podcasts. I'm your host, SalvationsElite. To my right, Bash, Bo3, Sam, and between us, as always, is Rex, ShadyNero. Boys, before we get into anything else, what's going on?
Oh my goodness, I had the most wonderful day. I swam with sea otters, and they gave me some kelp, and I sprouted fins.
Nope.
Well,
I'll be honest.
so crazy day for me.
You almost had me at swam, but then
I
just kept going.
Yeah.
You know, so Sam, how's your day?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
A little tired, but I'm doing good.
Right, powering through. So, as you guys know, all y'all out there, it's been a wild week and a half or so. We're a little bit late on this podcast, a little bit delayed. I got back from Paris. I was in Paris for the Challengers event, the Call of Duty Challengers event, working that over the weekend. And I got back late Monday night, so threw off our whole schedule. And now we're here, coming out on Thursday. So, my goodness. Oh, boy. So, first of all, before we get into all of the hype topics this week with the rosters and everything else, and the predictions for CDL Atlanta, or for not Atlanta, for LA. I did say last episode that I was going to read some reviews on this podcast. So today we're getting to the reviews section of the day. I'm very excited. If you guys haven't already, drop a 5-star review, of course, on Apple Podcasts, and drop comments down below on YouTube, and we appreciate it all. So, KU Dude 95 says, if you love competitive Call of Duty and want to know everything that is happening, go no further. SalvationsElite, ShadyNero, and XBash bring an entertaining view on all things COD. SalvationsElite, Josh in parentheses, gives you an in-depth look at professional Call of Duty and the scene week to week between news, tournament coverage, and roster updates. Wow. ShadyNero and XBash contribute with their entertaining and knowledgeable opinions to the table to fill out what is one of the best COD podcasts to date.
Wow.
A fiery
That was
review.
very eloquent and
yes.
Good paragraph. That was.
Oh yeah.
You put your heart into that one.
Yep. He
meant KU dude. Shout out.
Every single word.
Jeez. Wow.
And AJ Fire 23 says, just wanted to say you guys never let me down when it comes to keeping us updated on all things CDL happenings. I know I can come here and get my fix on all the storylines, power rankings, and of course, great commentary. Keep up the great work, you guys.
Wow. Thank you guys. Wow.
If you guys aren't hyped after that, I don't know what you're going. I mean, you're never going to be hyped. So, thank you, of course, for the reviews. We appreciate that, and we'll continue to read some every so often for all of you beautiful people out there. So, with that said, we got a lot to talk about today. Get your hands ready, get warmed up, because it's going to be a crazy podcast. Obviously, tons of news to go through. I mean, 6 roster changes, 5 starting lineup roster changes to talk about, and some that didn't happen as well. So a lot of news, and then of course the predictions for CDL Los Angeles, which should be a pretty exciting event with a lot of information on some of these teams and these rosters that have been coming together. So
absolutely.
Oh my goodness, a lot to go through. So of course, I wanted to talk real quickly about the Challengers Paris event, just because I just coming off of that. There was no stream for it, and basically no coverage whatsoever of the event at all.
Why'd you have it? Who knows?
Yeah, I know.
I did see a tweet from Clayster. It's like tweeting out like there's a Challengers event in Paris. This was just not marketed very well. And I don't.
But I mean, why would you market it when they're not even streaming it? What's the point? Well, like,
so waste money.
I know. I mean,
maybe they're like required to do one. Then I don't know.
Right, so what ended up happening, I think, was when they did the whole switch up of formats, because before each team was going to host 2 home events, and they were going to be like the league style, just normal league play format. They couldn't cancel the venue, I think. And so they're like, well, let's just split them up and do the Challengers event now. And so they're not going to be doing the Challengers event when they have the pro league, or the pro league homestand later on in the year. So it'll just be the pros there. Okay. So basically the event, War ended up winning the event, actually. And kind of the 2 favorites going into this event were War and, of course, Singularity, who has basically been dominant up until this point. And
they've won every single one. No, except for Atlanta, they did.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, they weren't at Atlanta, so they've been really competitive. They won the launch weekend in Minnesota, and they won London, the 2 events that they were at. So they were 2 for 2, and looking really good in this event as well. And they end up getting second. They lost in the grand finals to War. What's crazy to me, it's just mind-blowing that any of those guys on Singularity, first of all, aren't on a pro team right now.
There's definitely pro teams that could use that talent.
Yeah, because I think like all of them have a pretty good like resume to get onto a pro team right now. But I think it probably has something to do with like visas.
Visas, I think, are a huge issue.
And like the two teams you'd look at are like Paris and London.
Yeah.
But like they're doing pretty good right now. They really don't need to make a change. So I'm assuming that has to do something to do with it. But either way, what was crazy about the event, first of all, was like Singularity beat War like just a few rounds before they played in the grand finals, and they beat them 3-0, like just straight smoked them. It wasn't even close. And then in the grand finals, War goes up 2-0. Singularity brings it back, goes to game 5, round 11, and they blow it in round 11.
Shoot.
Real rough for Singularity. So then War takes it, and then War 3-0 Singularity in the reset bracket. So
that's a weird chain of events.
Yeah.
Going from 3-0, close 11, then getting in 3-0 yourself.
But War played like really, really good Call of Duty in the finals. Like it felt like I was watching two legitimate pro teams play COD. And
who's on Team War? Is it people we know?
Team War is Denza, Dave, Moose, PD, and Vortex.
Okay, so definitely.
Well, I wouldn't say no names. I mean,
known as in like people know who they are.
Known names.
Yeah.
Yes. And then of course Singularity is Detain, Insight, Bids, Maple, and Chain. So they've been really successful in the past year or so. And we've seen other amateur teams getting picked apart this week. So it'll be really, really interesting to see what happens with War and Singularity, and if they just keep dominating the M scene right now, because they're looking really, really good. So
you almost wonder if any of them have gotten offers, but they were choosing to stick as a team.
Yeah, or just for whatever reason can't because of visas or anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, we won't be able to it depends if they end up traveling to any of these smaller or LAN events in America until like if there's going to be a mid-season event or not. We don't know yet. Like hopefully there is, and then the Champs end year open bracket event. So there might be like 2 more massive like open events, which would be really cool to see those teams all play against each other again. So
yeah.
I don't know. What did you guys have any questions about Paris? Or like the venue was dope. I mean,
was the venue good?
Oh, the venue.
Well, like,
dope.
Did they have spectators? Like, were there spectators there, or was it all players?
No. So it was really weird. It's like it's called the La Scene Musicale, which is like this like really prestigious like theater on an island in the middle of like the river that goes through Paris, and like it's so dope.
That's insane.
And like it's basically made like like for orchestras and like really high end things, and then we just have an amateur COD event on literally the theater stage.
We decided to defile it with our Call of Duty.
yeah. And so, like, it was really, really cool. But like, basically, there was no viewers. It was just the players, and like maybe like some girlfriends or some like parents. But that was.
Were there spectator passes? Or was it?
No.
Or was it like a
no
free entry
passes.
to watch sort of thing? Like
basically if you could put like your family members on a list and then they could get in.
Got it.
That's how it was. But yeah, like, that's where the pros will be playing later on in the year. So it'll be really cool for a homestand, I think. Awesome. I'll be excited to see how that goes out.
They must be required to do like a challenge. Like each team must be required to do like one challenges event.
They are.
Because like why would you didn't air that? Like there's nothing about it at all.
Yeah.
It's like we just want to get this over with.
So I know we did record quite a few of the last matches, so hopefully they end up going up somewhere. I don't know when or where or if they'll go up.
Oh, that's cool.
But hopefully at least a handful of the matches will go up. I know that is one thing. The finals of CDL Atlanta's Challenger event went up on Atlanta's YouTube, and they rebroadcasted it with Codcasters and everything. I saw I Hold Shift was codcasting like the rebroadcast of it, so that was at least a step in the right direction for the COD scene as a whole. Bless you, Rex.
I tried.
That is cool though. That is a good indicator of maybe some things are changing. Right?
Yes, but again, the problem is that all the teams make all those decisions for themselves. Like the league isn't forcing them to record or like it's the teams really putting out the effort to make sure that happens. So it's going to be pretty inconsistent, at least for the rest of the year, probably. Yeah. So hopefully by next year,
everyone's doing it.
I know the COD League, there's definitely people inside the COD League that prioritize challengers, but it's the higher ups that are kind of like, not sure, not sold on broadcasting challengers. I'm assuming at least.
It's weird. Like, do you make a separate channel to broadcast challengers, like call it Call of Duty Challengers stream?
Probably. That'd probably be the best way to do it, right?
But then if the Pro League's happening at the same time, it's not going to pull a lot of viewers. Like, everyone's going to watch the pros play rather than the challengers series.
Probably. But there's a lot of aspiring AMs. I mean, at least a handful of thousand of aspiring AMs that like would be very interested in watching their
opponent
peers.
Yeah, for sure.
Their opponents, their peers play, and so
especially if you have like updates on the main stream, right?
I think updates are the big thing, and like
right.
And then like clips maybe from those games, you know.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, again, it was a cool event. I mean, I really enjoyed it. It was a fun overall experience, and hopefully the challengers keeps taking steps forward to get their word out there. So, I just want to talk about that a little bit before we got into all of the other exciting news. So, basically, real quick, I mean, Golden Boy is going to be the host of the ILLeY home series, which is cool. That was just like a little side note.
He's always good.
He's a really good host.
Yeah, I think that'll be pretty exciting. The big thing, though, is the first big news, Rambo.
He's back.
He's back. He was working at Activision for the past like handful of years, and he's back now as the head coach of Dallas Empire. They've been holding out on getting a coach.
He was working for Sledgehammer, right? Or was it Activision?
I thought it was Activision, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
So, head coach of Dallas Empire now. What are your guys' thoughts on that? I mean, Rambo as a coach, Empire, did they really need the coach, or where are they at now? Like, what are your thoughts on that as a whole?
I mean,
Rex?
I feel like Empire must feel like they need the coach. I mean, I feel like they could definitely use a coach.
Yeah. Same.
But I guess Rambo's an old pro, but like he was an old pro a long time ago. It seemed like he almost just like stepped away for a while, started I guess creating the game. So maybe he has some like really deep insight, like the technical side of the game that maybe people don't know.
Yeah.
But like how much he's kept up with like how to be playing hardpoint properly, how to be playing Dom properly, how much he's kept up with that, I don't know.
I agree. Yeah, Sam?
Yeah, I think the role of a coach is going to be more...
like a mediator.
Yeah, like right now I see the coach as someone who is going to keep the team on track, who is going to go through VODs, going to scout out the teams, right? And
settle disputes.
Settle disputes, do the vetoes, right? So yeah, it's maybe like they don't need him as much for leading the young guys because Crimsix strategy because like these guys Crimsix and Clay have been playing since forever, right?
Yeah.
But I think it'd be very helpful that maybe Crim and Clay were doing those things that the coaches usually do, and so that can take those things off of Clay and Crim's hands, and so now it's just Rambo's focusing on those things. So I think this is a great pickup. We know Rambo is very smart, very talented player. So
maybe
I was just gonna say this. I think it's a great investment for Dallas.
Yeah,
maybe Rambo understands how spawns work in the game.
Maybe so.
And so he's able to give that really deep insight.
He's got that special knowledge that he can't talk about.
That he not allowed to talk about, but he can tell his team, you know?
There's actually, honestly.
There's like certain spots on the map that like...
I mean, he might know, like I said, like that technical side. Like maybe there's something to that. I don't know. I've never seen it happen.
I'm not ruling it out. But yeah, I agree with you though. I mean, I think a lot of the intangible things that a coach can do, I think he'll be awesome with. Yes. And like, he definitely understands search and destroy. I don't know if he fully has like I mean, come on. You can't expect him to have a full grasp on 5v5 hardpoint in Modern Warfare at this point.
I mean, how much has he kept up with the scene? Like, that's my question. I don't know how much he's kept up.
No free shout-outs, but to be fair, he is now a co-host on a very good podcast, the Cod Podcast, and I listened to it because I was really interested to see what he had to say heading into the weekend and now that he's a coach. And he did talk about how he doesn't think he did like admittingly say he needs to work on hardpoint and respawns, but
which makes sense.
I definitely think he has a pretty strong grasp on search and destroy, and I know he's like a really mentally stable guy that is going to be able to help the team a lot.
Right.
Going through problems where Crim and Clay can be a little fiery.
Yeah,
for sure.
And if nothing else, he at least has the respect of players, right?
Oh, that's for sure.
He's been there, right? He's a coach that will...
He's Rambo.
He's Rambo, right? So yeah, so like some of these coaches, you might think like they probably don't have a lot of respect from the teams. Rambo's going to command that respect. So.
And that only makes sense. I mean, who's going to command the respect of Clay and Crim? Probably only Rambo. So
guy who actually created Call of Duty at one
and was beating them back in the day. So I 100% agree with that. So yeah, that should be pretty exciting. We'll talk more about Dallas Empire obviously later in the podcast as well. So oh no, the next thing on the list here,
Censor.
We have to at least talk about it. The censor dad thing. So
Papa Censor.
Papa Censor.
Is that his official name?
So, of course, we're going to fully talk about how the whole role change. I mean, Zero was benched for Happy.
Yep.
Breaking news. Spoiler.
Spoiler.
And after that news came out, Censor's dad roasted the whole team one by one.
Every single person, line by line.
On Instagram. Just going off on them. And, like, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Like,
I do not know.
What?
Okay, so... I have thoughts.
I mean, Censor had to apologize on Twitter for it in a video. So, yeah, Rex, what's your thoughts?
Do you have a picture? Yes. Okay.
Okay. I feel like the things he said on Instagram, like, definitely should not have said. I don't think Censor would ever want him to say those things.
Yeah.
Where did his dad get those ideas, though? That's my question. Did they come from Censor? But maybe this is, Censor venting. Censor really wants to play, wants to be starter. He has that fire, So I give him that credit. So it's like, he starts talking like, hey, like, this guy does this guy's bad for this guy's bad for this. And he's just ranting to his dad, just kind of venting, and not knowing his dad's going to end up posting about it. Exposing him. So I feel like that's a possibility.
I don't know, it's definitely
little drama, but Censor apologized. I don't think Censor should really catch a bunch of heat for it, because I think everyone talks back, it's just.
I agree.
It's just emotions. He's just venting them out.
Sam, do you want to read the descriptions? So this is the post.
Okay, here we go. So line by line. At accuracy, tyrant, loser, bad leader. At temp, hothead, bad team player. Attach, lackey, Lamar ass kisser. Zuma, champ, nice guy, needs spine. Zero. That's probably the nicest.
That's
probably the nicest one.
How nice of him.
At Zero, poor team choice. Champ, happy, clearly ill prepared. Censor, 4-time champ, proven leader, motivator, clear leader. And oh man, I mean, it's just like, it's amazing. I don't know how old he is, but like, for someone of that age to come down to a 12-year-old's mental capacity is phenomenal.
It was rough. It was real rough.
I do agree.
Censor handled it well.
This is Censor's dad's own mind's opinion. They could have been talking about
Censor would never say something.
Censor wouldn't say like that, and I think he handled it well. But man, is this a great copy pasta for?
Oh, it's so good
for a long time.
It's some good copy pasta. Yeah,
it's just crazy.
I mean,
oh my gosh.
I mean, his critiques are way too extreme, but like they're not like horribly wrong.
It's just
like
the way he went about it.
Yeah, they're worded way too extreme. Like, it's obviously not to that extent for any of those guys, but like at the same point, like, I mean, there are problems with that team, and like there obviously are some issues, and like, is Happy that much better than Censor? Probably not. I don't know. It's hard to say. So, we'll talk more about Censor and Happy in a second, but we had to at least address the dad issue there for a second, because that was freaking hilarious. So the other news that is roster related is OpTic Gaming related was the potential of OpTic making a roster change this week, and it was kind of like the rumors were flying around about who might be joining OpTic. The connection there was Pharaoh. The thought was Pharaoh was at least working with OpTic a little bit, potentially.
Which would be a good pickup for them.
Which we've all been talking about this whole year, that Pharaoh needs to be a guy that should be on a roster somewhere, and it didn't happen. So
how did Pharaoh not end up with all these subs that just happened? How did Pharaoh not end up anywhere? Like,
right. I mean, the thought process here is like, it depends what happens this weekend with OpTic. There's definitely a world where Pharaoh signs with them next week in 4 days. Like on Monday morning, he could sign with OpTic Gaming. Like, it's not that crazy, but I mean, you'd think OpTic would be trying to show up and show out for this homestand, and so if they think that this roster gives them the best chance to show out for this homestand, then I respect it. But there's a lot riding on this weekend for OpTic Gaming, that's for sure. So related to that, they announced that they're changing roles, which we saw on stream. Dashy is changing to MP5. Slasher, who was a flex, is now the main AR and replacing Dashy as the main AR, which, I mean, overall, like, what are you guys' thoughts on Pharaoh? What are you guys' thoughts on OpTic Gaming, the role changes? Like, where are you at with that?
I think Pharaoh should be on a team somewhere. That's like he should go to OpTic. He should go to somebody. There are I feel like almost all the teams could use a Pharaoh except for maybe FaZe, or Huntsman.
Right.
But Pharaoh, like, he's a top player in my opinion. He could go anywhere. I'm just surprised he hasn't been picked up. And Dashy should have been running sub this whole time. And Slasher, I feel like should have been going AR this whole time.
Yeah, it's tough because they built their team for a heavy 2 AR meta, like what Black Ops 4 in a lot of ways was, like where you could run 2 ICRs, or at least the Maddox, which was a beamer.
Pretty
anyway,
much both guns at the same time.
Right, and be in good shape, but like at the same time, it's like, you know, this game just does not play like that, and so I mean, Sam, what are your thoughts?
I do think the one thing with Pharaoh, which makes sense not going to OpTic, is I do think there was some bad blood between him and Slasher.
Interesting.
I think that
from 100T.
I think 100T. I think Enable kind of touched on this too. If you watch Nameless's podcast,
okay,
we're shouting out everyone's podcast.
Oh wow, we're giving tons of free shout outs today.
But I do think, I do think Pharaoh and Slasher did not mesh very well, and I can imagine Slasher has a good say of who should be joining OpTic at this point, because I'm sure he's, I don't know, maybe they do listen to him more, you know, I don't know, but that's the one thing that I could say that makes sense, that maybe that's why he didn't end up on OpTic, is because of the people that he played with on 100 Thieves, Slasher. But yeah, no, I there's no way that Pharaoh is not going to end up in the league at some point. To me, I just be crazy if he didn't.
Yeah.
Then in regards to the role change, I think it makes sense. I think having Dashy be able to do his thing around the map, let Slasher play the main AR and just kind of beam people, I think it makes sense.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see Dashy in like a full-on slaying role. Yeah. We all know the MP5 is the better gun. In like almost every single map. The only debatable one is Aussie or Cave, where like depending on how you play, you could say the M4 is better. But like, it'll be really exciting to see how Dashy makes that happen on the main stage, and I'm looking forward to see what OpTic can do. We'll talk about them in a second more for sure. So, moving into our first segment, quote unquote, our new transition here, the roster changes officially here. So there was 6 confirmed changes this week, and 5 for starting rosters. A huge week for the CoD League, and a lot of changes rolling into this OpTic homestand, which is a little bit surprising on the timing, considering there's a 3-week break for all the teams, and then an 8-week break for 4 of the teams, or a 4-week break for 4 of the teams after this event. But I guess we can just roll through the changes real quick to give you guys a breakdown. I did post a video about this just 2 days ago, so probably a lot of you guys have already heard this information, but 5 new substitutions for starting lineups. Obviously, one including Panda, which we've already talked about for Seattle. Then Happy, which we already mentioned as well for New York. So
Happy for Zero, Panda for Enable.
Zero was benched. Right, Panda for Enable. And then 3 changes on the LA Guerillas. Vivid, Blast, and Spart are replacing Aches, Lacefield, and Saints on LAG. I mean, they had to make a change at some point. Leading into this event, they probably needed some type of spark to give them a chance to compete. I mean, at this point, we all knew they were a bottom-tier team, and like, what was their upside to that roster? So
yeah, I mean, the fact that they made these changes right before their event, it's like you really don't have a lot of confidence, do you?
No. I mean, literally, they're gonna have less than a week to play as a team together leading into this event. So, I mean, where are you guys at with this? Which move out of, let's just say, out of Seattle, New York, and LA Guerillas gets you most excited or most interested, or improves the team the most, in your opinion? Rex?
I mean, probably Guerillas, maybe. Like, I think maybe not this first event they're gonna do great, but I feel like they could end up playing better because we know Aches wasn't playing well. Like Lacefield, I guess, was doing okay, but it could have been better. Their whole team just could have been better, and you could tell something was just not right. So I feel like making those changes are good. I don't know if it's going to work out this first event, but I think in the long run, it might be the good move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most interesting, but then also like the most concerning is, right, is Guerillas. 3 people.
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's like that's more than half their team. They're like, oh man, we had a terrible roster. Let's get rid of pretty much all of them.
Scrapping more than half our team. That's a drastic measure. I don't know.
How do you think that went down?
That team must have been terrible.
So supposedly
Must have been abysmal.
So supposedly Saints benched himself, which no free shoutouts, but Nameless said that on his account.
Why would he bench himself?
I don't know.
Were they just so scared going into this LA event that like Aches, Lacefield, and we're not playing in it. We're not doing that.
Honestly, I can see Aches and Lacefield being benched, and then Saints being pissed about it, and then saying, you know what, I'm not playing with these guys.
Right.
And then benching himself.
I mean, unless Bevels had like a heavy hand in it and made it happen, like that's definitely a possibility. Like Bevels and Ricky, who head coach, assistant coach, technically for Ricky, like if they had enough say where they're able to make the changes and like enforce them, I mean, it's no easy task to bench Aches.
No.
I can't imagine it's an easy task to bench Aches.
He's their marketing guy.
Yeah.
They market with him and he's not playing.
Right.
It's like I almost thought that just blast for Aches would have been enough. I don't know.
I mean, you're right. I agree there.
3 people is insane. Like
so, like you're
it's
wondering.
A whole new team.
So is your thought is the thought that like maybe Aches was gonna get benched first, and then Lacefield and I mean if Saints benched himself, maybe Saints was like, I'm not gonna play with this team if Aches isn't playing.
It just seems
like that's possible. I guess.
Maybe the vibes are just so bad that Saints like I'm just not playing with these guys anymore.
Honestly, yeah. Like because it seems crazy to me that the management would, okay, you know what? We're taking out 3 players, and then we're putting in 3 more players,
like 6 days before our homestand.
It's just it just doesn't seem like a normal thing to do.
It's not a normal thing,
unless something crazy happened, like Saints mentioned himself. So
they have more points than like no other team made those drastic of changes, and they weren't even like the bottom team, like technically.
No,
so it's like
right. But I mean, to be fair, we all knew that they were kind of expendable names, and like. I really think Spartan Vivid are really exciting players. Blast, to me, he's solid, but I just don't know where the upside is at this point with Blast. He's been like an up-and-coming player for like, what, Black Ops 3?
Yeah, he's always been up-and-coming.
So it's like, I don't know if the upside's there with Blast, but Spartan Vivid, I think there's a lot of upside with those guys.
Think there's
I'm excited to see what they can do.
Exactly. I think there's excitement behind those guys. I think they can do something. Will they? I don't know.
Yeah. The only way I see this in a positive light is if they just knew in the long term these 5 guys, Aches, Lacefield, Saints, them, just were not going to work out. And so they're like, you know what? Let's start over knowing that these guys probably won't be good this year. Mm-hmm. And then they just restart. But it just seems like a very strange time to do it. But like circle around back to it. Yeah, these guys do have upside too. Probably more than Aches and Lacefield and Saints have. So if you view it in the long term, it makes sense. But like for the now, it just seems like this is going to be a mess for the next couple events.
I don't
know.
You have to imagine that the org was planning on Aches playing because that's what they used for their marketing.
Yeah.
So I think it's a team issue. I almost think, and I think maybe I'm crazy, but Aches was getting scared of the event. He's like, I don't want to go play in front of my homestand and have a booing crowd, my own crowd booing against me. So he's like, I'm just not going to play in it.
I don't know about that.
I mean, it's a stretch, but it's a hypothesis because, like, why would they market him this whole time and then bench him? So it's not an org decision. It's definitely, like, a team thing.
Well, yeah, it's definitely a team thing.
Because an org would want him to play.
The teams have to know, like, come on. Like, they had to make a change. And Aches was the first one.
And so they chose 3 people to change?
No, I think the other two were definitely weirder circumstances. I think that makes sense why Saints
One
probably,
chooses
I'm sure
to
he did back
sit
himself.
out. Saints chooses to sit out as if he's already established. Like, you could easily not be in the
Yeah.
league next year, Saints. Like,
Yeah. I agree. That's the crazy part. So, I mean, to answer the original question, I'm definitely excited about the LAG roster moving forward, to see what Vivid and Spart specifically can do. The other ones, okay, let's say when it comes to Happy for Zero, all right? Zero obviously is pretty discouraged at this point about his situation in the league. He's not feeling good about it. It seems like he'd probably prefer to get traded at this point than anything else. They benched Zero, and New York promoted Happy to the starting lineup, and we found out today that Mac Melts on Twitter has been signed by New York. They haven't announced it officially yet, but that's
As a
what all the
sub,
rumors are saying
yeah.
at this point. As a quote-unquote sub. I mean, what do you guys think about that situation? Is there a world where Mac plays pretty soon? I think there might be. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts? Sam?
The Happy for Zero seems like a 1-to-1 trade for me.
If that.
If that, maybe a 1-to-0.8, right? like a lesser trade.
Yeah.
I just imagine again, we keep talking about the vibes, but I can imagine the 5 players were not meshing between Zero, Temp, Accuracy.
You're trying to say Temp has a
temper? Or something, maybe? I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, the only thing I can see positively is if Happy meshes in better. Maybe he can play more selflessly and be Temp's bait. Maybe the egos were the problem too. You get a lot of egos on that team. I don't know, but I just Happy for Zero just doesn't seem like a positive trade.
Yeah.
But Mac Melts.
I think Mac's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm excited about Mac. That'll be interesting to see. So first of all, Hybrid Black. So he was with they finished second at Minnesota, and I mean I think as a whole. I saw what did Octane who tweeted it's the rise of the amateurs Modern Warfare Rise of the AMs.
Who was that?
I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Octane, but I don't quote me on that. But at the same time, there's a world where these guys all get their shot, and I think Mac is an exciting player, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. When it comes to Happy though, I mean him and Accuracy team together for a lot of Infinite Warfare. They have to be at least pretty good friends. Him, Accuracy, Sender, and Hollow team for a while. Then it was Hook and Tej for a while in
Advanced Warfare.
Advanced Warfare, I'm talking about in Advanced Warfare they teamed for a long time together, and then in Infinite Warfare they teamed again on TK together with Goonjar and Theory, and so I don't know where I just don't see the upside with Happy whatsoever.
No.
And I can see why Sensor would be pretty frustrated. Where I mean, I don't think Sensor has any upside either. But at the same time,
he has experience, and
at the same time he brings at least some name value.
Name value, and he has been grinding.
I mean, hey,
we do see the grind.
I respect it.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see they're probably gonna play with Happy, and then maybe they just move up Mac Melts right away. So.
Yeah. I also, by the way, I've been working on some new stuff for the stream, or for the recording process. So we got the Stream Deck here now, and we can plug and play some different graphics on the screen live during the recording. It's pretty exciting, and also hopefully some audio upgrades coming soon. So quick intervention there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm with you guys. I would expect. I'll say that. I expect if New York, if they play how I think they're gonna play this weekend, I'd expect Mac to be in the starting lineup by the next event for sure. So we'll see what happens. They've got a long time off until their next showing, so they got some time to think about their situation after this event for sure.
Do you see a world where Sensor becomes on the starting lineup? Is there any chance?
No.
After that drama, no.
No. there's too many good AMs. I mean, there's just too many options.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's probably 20, 30 guys that you could like say, all right, well, Censor or this younger guy that hasn't been proven yet, like probably has a lot of upside potential, untapped potential. Like I'm looking at those guys as just significantly better options than Censor at this point. So
Censor needs to get on an AM
Doug
team.
Censor Martin guys.
Censor needs to get on AM team and climb that way if he really wants
I know,
it.
but like, that's the problem. He's stuck in the substitute.
He's stuck in the sub spot, which like there still like isn't clear rules. I feel like, but
Yeah. Well, actually, that's actually a thought. Now that they have two, and now they signed Mac, like maybe there's a world where Censor could
go down.
To the challengers. So we'll see what happens. Maybe that's a possibility. I don't know.
Wonder how much they're paying Censor. Is it a lot?
I don't know. I mean, probably a substitute contract, so $50K maybe. It's hard to say. So,
yeah.
Well,
anyways,
that is all of the changes. Obviously, we're going to be talking about them all in this predictions section now. So we're going to move into our predictions for CDL Los Angeles, which would be pretty exciting. So,
should be a good one.
I mean, there's a lot to go through here. The two matchups, I talked about this in my video today if you guys haven't seen it already, but we're going to be going through and giving a lot of alternate opinions and playing some devil's advocate here. So, ironically, we kind of did like a preliminary like pick here, and we have a lot of very similar
brackets
with this bracket. So, I guess we can just start in Group A and talk and go through it here. We got the Guerillas versus OpTic's, the LA face-off, and then we got the Rokkr versus the Surge. So, where are you guys at with these matchups? It looks like you guys might be in the same spot here. We're going to be filling in the brackets we go on screen, as you guys are going to be seeing here, and see where you guys are at with that. So, Sam, Rex?
Yeah. This OpTic Guerillas matchup is going to be an interesting one. They're two teams.
We finally get it's the reveal, you know?
What's going to happen here? I end up going with OpTic 3-2. I have a strong feeling it's going to a game 5. I don't have a strong feeling who's going to win. Honestly, I don't. But I would hope that OpTic by now, with having the same roster, would have figured out something after having a couple bad events.
Rex, where you at?
I also said OpTic 3-2.
Oh, wow.
I just like Guerillas. Guerillas could surprise us. Like maybe they'll come out with some fire with the new guys, and maybe OpTic just hasn't learned anything. But I feel like the homestand is gonna be more fans of OpTic there than there are gonna be Guerillas, to be honest. Just because they have names on their team like Dashy and Slasher.
Yeah.
So I feel like they'll just have the fans. So OpTic's gonna feel like a pressure to be like, do better than they've been doing. So OpTic 3-2 over Guerillas for sure.
I've been going between OpTic 3-0 and OpTic 3-1. Actually, I think OpTic's gonna come out shooting on all cylinders in this tournament compared to the Guerillas, and I think OpTic's gonna pretty handily take it. Honestly, I mean, again, we can talk about OpTic all we want. There's a lot riding on this tournament for them. They have to get out. If they want to have any chance of maintaining their starting 5, they have to get out of the pool. Which, with the other teams that are in this pool, the Guerillas, the Surge, and the Rokkr, they got to be able to get out of there. So, I'm taking OpTic in a 3-1. I'll give the Guerillas a little bit of credit, but that's where I'm putting them there. Yeah, next match is the Rokkr versus the Surge. A little, an interesting one. Obviously, the Rokkr looked pretty good in Atlanta. They really showed out. GodRx, the man himself, looked fantastic. Obviously, the rest of the boys on the Rokkr still need to figure things out, but GodRx looked fantastic. Where you guys at with this Rokkr Surge matchup? Do the Surge have any chance here? Does Pander show up to Seattle, turn things around? What are you guys thinking?
Go ahead.
I think Rokkr is going to beat the Surge. I don't think Pander's going to make that much of a difference. I think Surge is just kind of in the dumps right now. And unless something crazy happened, then I think Rokkr is just going to take it. Rocker's been looking really good. I think GodRx is going to pop off. It is going to be a little bit of a GodRx versus Octane battle, which will be kind of fun.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that.
But I think Rokkr is going to take it. Rokkr seems to have more heart, has more energy. has been winning, has been consistent. I think Rokkr 3-1.
Yeah. I mean, Sam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, when you look at it, the Surge just have pretty much everything stacked against them. They made a roster change. So how long have they been getting good practice with Pander? I don't know. Rokkr just came off of a pretty good event. Yeah, they got third, fourth, but they're up 2-0 versus FaZe. Lost eventually, but I don't know. They got some great teamwork. I think it's hard to deny that Rokkr has shown that they've got one of the best team chemistry in the league, considering that they don't have the greatest individual skill when compared to something like FaZe. So
yeah.
I just think Rokkr take this. I'm gonna go honestly with a 3-0.
Ooh, okay, all right. I also think Rokkr are gonna win in a hot 3-0. I could see a world where it's a 3-1, and it would be a dom. I think that Seattle would take in that situation. They've been pretty good on Petro, especially. My thought process here is like they are built very similar. I think Rex, you kind of hint on that. Like you got your Octane, and Rokkr's got RX. Then you've got just a list. The thing is that God RX isn't a main AR. Assault's their main AR, and it's like that's the difference there. I mean, I do think that Octane has the distinct advantage when it comes to the main AR battle versus obviously versus Assault, but Assault looked good in Atlanta. I actually don't think Seattle's going to be that bad. This is more of a play towards OpTic. I mean, versus the Rokkr. I think the Rokkr are going to be really good this tournament. So I'm going to have them in a 3-0. But I really don't think Seattle is that bad. I just think the Rokkr are legit. Is there a world where Seattle has a chance in this? Like, what would it take for Seattle, in your opinion, to upset the Rokkr here?
Oh man.
God RX shits the bed, or does stinks up the bed. Poops the bed.
You hate to see it. We're demonetized. You hate to see it.
And
man.
Octane just destroys them. And
Yeah.
Karma for some reason decides to have a just crazy game.
Slacked shows up too. Slacked needs to show up if they have any chance of winning.
Yeah, and just
Yeah,
the
so-
sub battle too. It just goes in Seattle's favor the whole time.
Unless we're just completely underestimating Pander, which is a possibility. I mean, there's a world where Pander
It's
comes out
true.
and plays great. I mean, again, the biggest problem with Seattle, which we talked about in the last episode a little bit, was the role. The roles just weren't distinct enough.
Yeah.
For Seattle. I mean, Enable, Slacked, and Karma in a lot of ways want to play a very similar style, and they just don't have that extra slaying power that's needed that allows for them to open up the map. And maybe Pander comes out, plays great, and they really make this thing close. And so I think we might be underestimating Seattle a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't feel confident enough about the situation to pick them.
Yeah.
To make an upset like that happen.
Well,
So,
Pander also is gonna have a drive to show up.
Yeah.
Pander
Exactly.
is this is his time to prove himself and stay on the roster.
Yeah. I 100% agree. So that puts us down to the losers bracket here. The losers. Actually, let's stick with the winners round one first. So OpTic versus Rokkr. We all have OpTic and Rokkr going through here. Where are you guys at with this one? What are you guys' thoughts, Rex?
I think that the Rokkr are gonna beat OpTic 3-1. Maybe
Okay.
even 3-0. I'm going 3-1. I feel like after OpTic beats Guerillas, Rokkr, like I said, they seem to have something going. They have a chemistry set. They seem to know what they're doing more so than we've seen OpTic. OpTic doesn't seem to really know exactly what they're doing on the map when they're playing. And I think Rokkr is going to show up and do what they do and beat them.
Yeah, Sam? Similar?
Yes.
Wow. Confident.
I know. There is a world where OpTic wins.
It's because they got that fan, you got to prove your
Yeah.
fans. That's
The
the only
home-
way I see OpTic doing anything. Is just
they
because
get
they have
booed
the
at home?
fans.
Will
I don't
OpTic
think
get booed
I
at
don't
home?
no, I don't think
I
so.
don't
I
think
think
so.
Guerillas could.
Interesting. Yeah, that'll be actually. I'll be interested to see. I think there's a world where LA gets booed, where OpTic gets booed because they're OpTic.
I mean, maybe
Still.
there will be boos, like, good thing Huntsman aren't there because everybody be cheering for Huntsman,
Yeah.
and
I
OpTic would
think
be
they
getting booed.
specifically planned
Since
that.
they're not there. Maybe Empire will have the fans because there's Crimsix, you know,
Yeah, I
part
can
of the
see that.
real
I mean,
OpTic sort of thing.
So where I'm at with this is, so Rokkr last event, I mean, Alex, Assault, and GodRx looked fantastic. Specifically, in my opinion, Assault and GodRx looked great. When you have guys playing that well, like, you're going to win a lot of matches. The only weird thing about that event was that Sim and Silly kind of got dumped on in a lot of these matches. And it's like, rarely do you see, like, two or three players make up for really bad play of other players so well, like the Rokkr did. And I really do think Silly's the X factor for like the Rokkr to take that next step to being like a team that's 3-1, 3-1ing and 3-0ing a lot of teams.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll pull out some stats from last event. Like, so, like, true success rate is a stat that I really, really like. That shout out to Easy Mac on Twitter because he's done a great job with his spreadsheet. But the true success rate is how many of your interactions are turned into either assists or kills from yourself. So it's like really shows like how effective you are at playing your life and playing for gunfights. Like, Tej was the worst at 47% of his gunfights were successful, and Wuskins was the best at 65.6%. So like, there's a pretty big, you know, like an 18% gap there between all the players. Silly, it was, you know, on the lower side of that, to say the least. He was sitting at, I have to pull up his stat real quick, but he was definitely on the lower side of it for sure. And he was at 51.4%, which is, you know, the bottom 10% for sure. I think Silly, like, has to play a more effective game, specifically in hardpoint, if they want to be a really good team. All that said, I don't think OpTic plays effectively either, and so I have Rokkr winning 3-1. That was more of a rant for the future of these games, specifically against the Empire later on. But yeah, I have the Rokkr beating OpTic 3-1.
Yeah. I think I'm right there with you guys. Rokkr 3-1. I kind of wanted to be a little bit of like a, you know, a black sheep and do OpTic, but I don't see it happening. I see Rokkr winning 3-1.
Yeah. So that knocks us down to the loser's bracket matchup, of course, which is for all of us as well. OpTic versus, the Guerillas versus Surge. Mm-hmm. And I mean, where are you guys at with this one? Guerillas, Surge. Wait, what are your thoughts, Rex?
This is a tough one for me.
This is one of the toughest ones.
I feel like Guerillas definitely have that wild card potential because they did change more than half their roster. And so those guys are going to want to show up and play really well. And they're also like these AM guys that, like, they're not that bad. So, like, they have a potential, like some hidden pop-off potential. You know, we just haven't seen them as much. But Surge, you know, has those top pros that we know. Octane is just really good. We know Karma can show up. We know these players. So, and the fact that they've been playing together longer with only one other sub in, I think I'm going to go with Surge winning that one.
Nice. Yep, I'm in the same boat, and looks like Sam is as well. Sam has the hot 3-0.
I have a hot 3-0. I think Guerillas are going to be absolutely garbage. I know I had them going with the game 5 to OpTic, but
yeah,
I don't know. I just see Guerillas collapsing under pressure.
And I wouldn't even say it's under pressure. It's more just they've had a week of practice. Yeah. I just don't expect them to be an effective Call of Duty team at this point. I have them winning 2 maps this series or in this tournament, which I think is a pretty big win. If you're the Guerillas, like beating Surge 3-1 or losing to Surge 3-1, losing to OpTic 3-1. So that marks us up to the OpTic versus Seattle Surge match. The winner goes through into the single elimination bracket. Where are you guys at with this one? This is a really interesting matchup in my opinion, and I'm excited to see what you guys have to say. Sam, you already put in your score.
This is where I'm going to differ a little bit. So my rough draft was having OpTic come out here, but I am placing my bets in Octane. I think he's going to carry the team a little bit.
You think he's going to carry against like Slasher and Dashy? Like, he's good, but I don't know if he's good enough to beat these top tier guys.
It's your opinion whether or not the role change for OpTic is enough to like put him over put him into like the middle tier of teams, you know?
I don't know. I'm just gonna hedge my bets here and assume that maybe Pander can do a little more in S&D than Enable did, and maybe there's more of a better vibes on the team. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do see OpTic with the role change maybe being a little more dominant, but I'm going for it. I'm not looking back. Surge 3-2.
All right, I respect it. I respect it.
So I went with OpTic 3-1. I think just the crowd, I think the team is going to feel pressure to do well. We know the players, at least 3 or 4 of them, like, are potentially, like, they're really good players that just, like, I guess have not been in the right environment, grow in that way or show it off.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is their time that they're going to do something. And what a better team to do it against is the Surge, who's also struggling.
Remember the last time you put your faith in OpTic?
I know, last time. I know. Every time I always talk super bad about OpTic, and I never believe in them. And then when it comes crunch time, I'm like, oh, maybe they can do it. You know, it's just
So
because the
is
names.
another chance.
I have that name bias. Like, you got Dashy, you got Slash. Like these are names like they win things. And but I think with the crowd and everything, I feel like OpTic's gonna do it, and they're also in the easiest group. Let's talk about Group A. Group A is way easier.
The difference
How lopsided is that?
Yeah, it's rough.
But anyways, yeah.
I think OpTic and Surge are actually both going to be pretty decent teams at this tournament, and so I think it's going to be pretty close. I'm going to take OpTic in a close 3-2, and I wouldn't say this is an issue with OpTic. I think it's more of your argument. I think the Octane X Factor is a difference, but I do believe that OpTic's role change is exactly what they needed. They needed Dashy's just slaying ability with the MP5 in hand, and I think that's going to be the difference in this series specifically. The slaying power, when you pair that with, the natural talent of OpTic. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna have them in a close 3-2 series, which means Rokkr and OpTic move on into our single elimination bracket. That moves us down to Group B, which is FaZe versus the Mutineers and Empire versus the Subliners.
Poor Subliners, am I right?
The Subliners got the short end of the stick with this poll, and
I'm putting in my
groups here.
I'm putting in my 2 first rounds already.
Oh my, hot 3-0.
FaZe
Sam's
3-0,
coming out.
Empire 3-0.
Jeez. All right. Well, take us away then with let's start with the FaZe Mutineers rematch of the grand finals of Atlanta.
I sort of knocking on Mutineers, sort of not. Good for them being second. But I do think it was kind of a fluky event. I don't believe anyone could positively say that Mutineers are the second best team in the league right now. There's just no way. And I think FaZe is just at least 2 tiers above Florida right now. And so, pretty easy pick, 3-0.
I mean, is there a world where the Mutineers learn from their mistakes?
Maybe.
Prestinni, is nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike, he had a rough event, even though Mutineers succeeded so much in Atlanta. But is there a world where Havoc, Prestinni, they come out firing on all cylinders. Skies is dropping at 1.25. They upset FaZe in round 11. No.
I mean, you gotta have. We get to see Havoc and Frosty be a consistent sub.
Yeah, I agree.
And then when you pair that against the FaZe's sub, it's just like, ugh.
Rex, you have the Mutineers taking a map off them. What are your thoughts there?
I think Mutineers, coming off their last tournament performance, are riding a good high right now. I feel like Mutineers have improved a lot. I think they have a lot of confidence in themselves, and they're playing the best team, so they're already gonna come in like, we've come back from so much. Like, this is our chance. We get to play them again. So I feel like Mutineers are gonna find a way to take off map from them, and that's the reason I think Mutineers can win one.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, I'm not ruling out. I think this league is as competitive as it's ever been, and the Mutineers can show up. I mean, we saw the Mutineers play good COD in Atlanta just 2 weeks ago, so it wouldn't be the craziest thing ever if it just goes to like a game 5 or something. Because I mean, FaZe got scared in the last tournament too with Rokkr. So that moves us down to the Empire Subliners match. I mean, you guys already got yours in there. Sam, you got the hot 3-0. What are your thoughts there?
Again, with Empire having practice with the same roster, we've seen them lose to Chicago 3 times, right? I still think Dallas is a really good team. Subliners, I don't have any confidence in, especially with the roster change, right? With, Zero. I just think Dallas is a better team. Better practice with with the same squad.
Okay.
3-0.
All right, Rex, where you at?
I mean, pretty much the same thing. I think Empire is going to win fairly easily, but Empire is at that place where they aren't the best, and they do lose things that they probably shouldn't lose, and maybe their players are still trying to gain confidence. So I see Subliners taking a map off, but that's it.
I'm still nervous about the Empire. I mean, in our last podcast, we did our power rankings. I did have Empire the lowest out of all of us. I'm still a little concerned about the roster as a whole.
Yeah.
I hope this is their turnaround because obviously the league's more interesting when the Empire are really good. So I have them winning 3-1. But I wouldn't be shocked if this goes to a game 5.
I wouldn't be either.
I'm just not convinced. It's really not. I'm not convinced in the Empire, but I'm definitely not convinced with the Subliners. So that's really just the biggest difference there. Is I just don't think Happy is a game changer in any aspect. I think Zero has a lot more upside. It feels like more of a chemistry move than anything else for the team, and maybe that's what they needed. And that's just the X factor that we don't see. But I'm not putting my marbles on that one. So that gives us a FaZe versus Empire matchup for both of us in the second round. And down in the losers, we got the Mutineers versus the Subliners. So let's talk about the FaZe Empire match first. Boys, Rex, you've already got yours put in there.
I do.
As a hot FaZe 3-0
I think it's going to be
Empire.
a hot FaZe 3-0. I think Empire, they're learning. I think they will be better this tournament. But I don't know if they're ready to take on FaZe. And I think FaZe is going to smoke.
Interesting. All right. Okay, Sam. I mean, is there an X factor that you guys see when it comes to gameplay, game modes? Mm-hmm. I mean, what's the why 3-0?
Me? Oh, are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like they're better. I just feel like Empire's not going to have the confidence against them. They're not, I think Empire's going to go into that match. I mean, they're going to try, but I think FaZe is too strong. They're too fast. I feel like Shotzzy and ILLeY are still trying to learn the game, and when they're playing against other subs that are just Simp and Abezy, it's they're just not going to keep up while they're learning, and these guys are just destroying. They already know what they're doing, and they're really good.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. I have a FaZe 3-1. We saw FaZe be not human. We saw him go down 0-2.
Yeah.
So that's where I think that Empire can take a map off FaZe.
I agree.
Yeah, I still think FaZe is obviously a better team than Empire. I think it's hard to debate that. But I think FaZe showed weaknesses. They're not the all-powerful team that I think everyone thought they were. I mean, especially they could have lost to Rokkr.
They're definitely dang good. That's for sure.
Yeah, but it's hard to deny that they are by far the best team in the league right now.
Yeah, I have. So this completely goes against my previous statement. I think the matchups make sense with the Empire and FaZe, where FaZe has a chance to be tested. So I'm gonna give FaZe in a 3-2. This is the type of game where I think where Crim and Clayster play well. They play up to the competition, and Empire find a little bit of groove, but just not enough. And FaZe, at the end of the day, clutch up like they are probably going to do all year long. I have FaZe in a 3-2. I mean, what map do you think the Empire? You have Empire taking a map. What map do you think the Empire most likely take?
The Dom.
Dom.
Absolutely
Because that's where FaZe has
Dom.
been showing their weaknesses the most.
Yeah, I think Dom has just been. No one's been very. Maybe I should look back at it, but to me it feels like Dom has just been the 50-50 map for everyone.
Man,
I don't know. Has someone shown the dominance on domination? Domination on domination, but. Yeah, no, I think if Empire do take a map, it's going to be...
I agree. I think Empire take a Dom, for sure.
Yeah.
And then...
Maybe an S&D.
I could see an S&D, but, I mean, FaZe has looked really just good at Surge.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough 3-2. I'm going to stick with the 3-2 just just to keep it different. But I mean, 3-1 is very, very likely. So that leaves us down with the Mutineers Subliners matchup down here, and the winner of this would then play the Empire in all of our situations here. So where are you guys at with this one? I think this is a pretty interesting matchup.
It is.
But I'd like to see what you guys' thoughts are here. Rex, you have Mutineers.
Yeah, so I think Mutineers are, I mean, they're looking strong. Subliners, I have almost no faith in them, really. And then, like you said, with the change with Happy and Zero, it's just like, I don't think it's right. I feel like the vibes on New York are really bad. I feel like the vibes on Florida are really good. I just see Mutineers taking it and riding the roller coaster they've been riding this whole time.
Yep. I think the Mutineers matchup makes a lot of sense here. I'm going to give them a 3-0. This, I mean, I have the Subliners taking a map off Empire, but it just feels more like an Empire thing. Like, they're going to drop some, just a random search and destroy to the Subliners for some reason. But I think the Mutineers match up pretty well. The AR play from Skies was just so good in Atlanta, and if that keeps up, the Mutineers are going to be a pretty dangerous team. And if they weren't playing FaZe in the first round, if they're playing anybody else, I would have liked them. And if it wasn't FaZe. And that's why I think the Mutineers are like a legitimately solid team. And makes up for a pretty interesting Mutineers Empire matchup here. Sam, who do you got?
I don't have a reason why I'm doing this.
Wait, what? Why?
Something weird happens.
Okay.
Sometimes, right?
So I guess this is one of those weird games. I kind of feel you're coming from.
Something weird happens, right? Chicago almost lost to Toronto Ultra. Something weird happens. Subliners are gonna beat Mutineers 3-2. That's gonna be the weird thing this bet.
Can we make a bet right now?
What?
I don't know. Rex, what's a fair bet right here that I can make with Sam?
I don't know, $5.
No, it can't be like money. It has to be like a...
One of you has to put your hood up and say that I'm a Call of Duty dunce on the next podcast.
I don't hate that. I don't know. We need to.
I like that. I think that's a good bet. And you gotta try and point your hood as much as you can.
Viewers, drop all your if you're on YouTube, drop your comments down below here because we need to come up with like a good system. I know I work with the fantasy footballers for like a semester. They do water bets. Where it's like you throw a cup of water at someone else.
Yeah.
Not on the podcast live, but
I understand this is. The odds are against me here.
What is a good... I don't know what a good... Here, I'll just put it all... You can tweet whatever you want.
I think I have an idea.
Oh, wow.
So I think...
Really?
So yes. I think the person who loses... The person who loses the bet has to say, I'm a Call of Duty dunce. And then they have to put their hands... And they're wearing sport shorts. And then you put the sport shorts over your shoulders and through the legs.
In the world.
I think you gotta do something like that. And you gotta say, I'm a Call of Duty dunce, and you gotta wiggle your fingers at the camera.
Half our listeners don't listen. They listen. They don't watch. Okay, we're doing a Twitter bet here. I'm over.
Then we'll post the clip on Twitter too.
Oh gosh.
Wait, but
I don't hate it.
Vote for that, guys. Suggest that in the comments, and
suggest it in the
force them to do it, guys. We can do it.
No, how about this? Actually, how about this? Because this game will happen on. Does this game happen on Sunday or on? Oh, I don't know. It happens. Okay, it happens on Sunday morning. Wait, what? Okay, the scheduling, the times must be wrong because it says they're playing at 2 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. and 5 a.m. There's no way that's right. That has to be wrong.
Unless...
Okay, wait. What is... Oh! My computer's on Paris time.
I was going to say, where are you seeing this? I was going to say.
Now it all makes sense. Why is my computer still... It should have auto-updated. That's hilarious. Okay, wait, what are the actual times?
Okay, well,
does it show them on here for you? Okay, anyway. Okay, so they play they'll be playing on Saturday then. So that's ideal. All right, so I'll do if I did this last time. I'll do a $10 giveaway during the watch party.
Okay.
If the Mutineers lose.
Okay.
So that's
what does Sam lose in this bet here?
nothing. It's only me because
Guys, vote for the Call of Duty dunce thing with the shorts.
No,
Please suggest it.
I understand that I'm like almost guaranteed to lose this bet. Like I understand.
Yeah, that's a thing.
This is a something weird is gonna happen that usually happens. One thing weird happens. This is gonna be it. Subliners win 3-2. I don't have a reason.
All right.
I can't give you a reason.
Well, we got stuck on this for a long time.
I apologize for making it happen.
Okay, Empire Mutineers. I'll do a $10 giveaway if the Mutineers lose. Empire Mutineers. What are you guys' thoughts?
I have Empire winning.
Oh, for Sam.
I have Empire winning 3-2. I feel like Mutineers are going to put up a really good fight against the Empire. But I think the Empire is still going to be able to respond. And it's going to be another learning opportunity for the Empire, and they're going to get better from it. But I think they're also going to win it.
I also have the Empire 3-2, which is interesting. I think the X factors there is I like the Empire and Search and Destroy a lot. I think that's where they're gonna have the advantage on the Mutineers. The Dom, the hard points, they're a toss up with the Mutineers. It depends how Prestinni and Havoc are playing. I don't love the Mutineers. I just don't think the Subliners are very good. That's why I have them in a 3-0. But I'll take the Empire 3-2. Sam?
Empire 3-1 for me.
Okay, that's nice of you.
If Subliners somehow make it through, they're
feeling good.
Empire's going to destroy them. So
Sounds good.
Empire win.
All right, that sets up our matchups here, which for all of us, is it the same? Oh no, because we have me and Rex have OpTic. Sam has the Seattle Surge. Me and Rex have the Rokkr versus the Empire and FaZe versus OpTic in both situations here. Sam has the Surge finding their way through to play the FaZe.
Yep.
So let's just talk about the Rokkr versus Empire matchup. In my opinion, this is the most interesting matchup of the whole weekend.
It could be really.
And I'm really excited to see what happens in this one. So where are you guys at with this?
So I'm going with Empire, and I think it's going to be another 3-2.
This is tough.
Yeah, it is a tough one. I can definitely see Rokkr rocking the Empire, but I feel like the Empire, if they win and they advance to that championship bracket single elim, I feel like that's when they're gonna. I think something's gonna just kind of start clicking with them, and they're gonna start just beating better and better and better teams. So I think this is a good turn. I think this is gonna be a turnaround event for the Empire where they really improve a lot, and we're gonna see them improve throughout the tournament almost.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm on the others. Me and Sam are both on the other side here. I have the Rokkr beating the Empire. This is really tough. I think GodRx, I talked about this in the video, I think GodRx is the X factor. I have it in Game 5 as well. Well, we all have it in Game 5. So, oh, wow. I think GodRx is the X factor. I like the Rokkr and respawns a lot more. SND is going to be a toss-up. The Dom could probably be a toss-up. The hardpoint specifically, I like the Rokkr a lot. So it could be a really close series. I wouldn't be surprised if Empire win 3-2. But GodRx is the X factor, and if Silly shows up, the Rokkr are going to be really, really good, and that's why I have them going into the semifinals. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be the case. Sam?
Yeah, I obviously I have the Empire getting this far, but when you think of stability, Rokkr does have a more consistent basis. Empire, we still don't really know where Shotzzy and ILLeY are at. Huke even, really. I haven't really been too impressed with Huke, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of pressure on the Empire in this event.
So yeah,
well, this maybe going into the year, unfortunately.
This is
no
bunny tail.
Wrong.
Bunny
Wrong.
trail. Circling back. Anyways, I do see a world where either one wins Game 5, but going on a consistency basis, I think Rokkr take this one 3-2.
All right. Yeah, that brings us down to our second matchup where we all have FaZe. Because, shocker, surprise, surprise. I mean, is there a world... is there a world where FaZe isn't in the final of this tournament?
No.
I mean, it would be beyond shocking, right?
Especially if their matchup is either Surge or OpTic.
Yeah.
It's just...
Yeah.
No way. Yeah. 3-0
You're
for
actually kind of
me.
blowing into that mic over there, by the way. So, I just don't see a world where FaZe is dropping a series to OpTic or the Surge.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest trip up here is obviously going to be the Empire for them in the second round, presumably in the group play. But then it's like, even if they lose that, then they're running through the bracket, going into the group anyway. So it's hard to imagine FaZe not in the final here.
Yeah.
I just don't see a world where OpTic matches up well enough against FaZe, plays technical enough Call of Duty. FaZe is so technical. In hardpoint, they rotate better than any other team. They set up on new hills better than anybody else. They're search and destroy. They don't waste lives. They play together when they have a man up. They always get first blood. They capitalize on their first bloods. Like, FaZe is just a good Call of Duty team. Mm-hmm. And against a team that I just don't think technically is a good COD team yet in OpTic, give me a 3-0 with FaZe every single time. Yeah. I mean, are you guys kind of on the same page with that?
Same.
Yeah, FaZe is going to destroy OpTic/Surge. End of story.
All right. Sounds good. Yep. So that sets up a pretty interesting final, at least. FaZe Rokkr for me and Sam, and FaZe Empire for Rex. Either way, in my opinion, pretty interesting. For me and Sam, the FaZe Rokkr matchup is a rematch from the semifinals in Atlanta. A really close series. Obviously, Rokkr went up 2-0, got reverse swept. And I feel like FaZe learned from their mistakes, right?
Yep. I think FaZe obviously did not come out hot. It was FaZe who did not perform to their best. Rokkr was obviously performing really well. I don't see a world where FaZe plays Rokkr again and does not come out hot. I do have them winning 3-1, so I do think
the Dom?
Again, probably the Dom, where they can't win a 3-0, but it's hard to bet against FaZe right now, obviously. 3-1.
I know. They've looked
so
They
good.
just look so good.
Again, they're in their own tier.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
Rex?
I think FaZe is going to beat them 3-1, which is one map better than they did before. And like I said, Empire is going to be improving. So I think they're going to take that map, and I think that'll end up being a good run for the Empire.
Yeah, that would be a good run for the Empire. I mean, if the Empire make it out of the group play, they should be pretty happy with themselves. If they beat the Rokkr, they should be really happy with themselves. And if they compete against FaZe in the finals, they'll be incredibly happy with themselves. Yeah. I think at the end of the day. So I'm right with you. So this is good. The podcast's going pretty long, but we've had so much good conversation. Let's quickly give our MVPs of the tournament for FaZe. We all have FaZe winning. Who in your situation would be the MVP for FaZe? Obviously in Atlanta it was Celium. Rex, who's your MVP?
Simp. Just because I feel like Simp should be the MVP when they're beating Clayster.
I love it. Sam?
Let's do Abezy.
Ooh, okay.
I think the dude is phenomenal on the map. And I think he comes out hot here.
Statistically, he didn't have like an incredible event in Atlanta.
Yeah, what a stupid choice, Sam.
What a terrible choice.
Statistically speaking.
No, but I just think Abezy this year, because Celium's been playing so well, in my opinion, like I just don't know if he has to step up and be like the Slayer. I think he's playing a really good OBJ role with Priesta.
True.
So I think in this, and I'll be surprised if it's not Celium or Simp. I'll take Simp as well. So give me that Simp MVP.
Low hanging fruit.
Real quickly, is there a team that could bust? What team in your opinion is most likely to bust?
Mutineers.
Mutineers.
They have a lot They have a lot of pressure after coming in second. So yeah. I think maybe I'm assuming people expect them to go far.
Okay.
So then
in our brackets, we don't. You have them busting in the bracket, so you already have them busting.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of assuming that's going to be the team to bust.
I think so.
Is the Mutineers?
think so.
I mean, Rex, does losing to Empire count as a bust in a 3-2 series, in your opinion? Okay. So is there a different team that, like, I think there's a world where the Empire bust, but, I mean, based off my opinions, you
If
probably already
Mutineers
would see
lose to Subliners like that, then that's a bust. Mutineers should be winning that.
I think the Mutineers could definitely beat Empire.
I think they could, too.
In Empire's opinion, that's a bust. So, I'll take the Mutineers as my team that could, or I'll take the Empire as a team that could bust. Is there a sleeper
Empire too,
or a most improved? How about the most improved player from last event or the last event that they played in your opinion?
Shotzzy.
Is there a guy that sticks out? Shotzzy. Oh,
I think Shotzzy. If he does, like, he could almost do anything else, and he's gonna get most improved. He go this. He's just been playing really bad.
Well, okay, here's the probing question for you. If OpTic make the single elimination bracket, you'd have to assume one of those guys would be the comeback player. I mean, basically, you could choose any of them.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Dashy, considering he had like a 1.13, I think.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, but besides that, all of them had like 0.8s or whatever. So,
maybe TJ.
If OpTic makes this run, who's the guy?
TJ, maybe. Cal.
Okay.
Haley.
Yeah. How did I say TJ after his stats? I mean, it's just
so bad. I think I would say Slasher. I mean, he had like a 0.8 something.
True.
At or in Atlanta, and so I think if they're switching roles, he's the main AR. He's playing slower, playing for those kills. The stats could look pretty good for Slasher, in that opinion. We'll see if they actually works out. So that's the podcast, guys. There's another episode down. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Drop, of course, all your opinions down below. We love seeing them. This was a pretty long podcast. This might be our longest podcast yet.
Might be.
And we really do appreciate all the support for the podcast. It does mean a lot to us. And as always, I'm Josh SalvationsElite. To my right, Sam BashBO3. And between us, as always, Rex, ShadyNero. And we will see you next time. See ya.